Welcome back for a continuation of last week's episode where we are joined by Mr. M, Mr. T, and J. Okay, so you get out of this relationship. It definitely is like, ding, a little light bulb goes off that, hey, there's something here. So you come out, you share that with him, and since then you've been growing and learning, right? Different relationships.
Doing my baby lesbian gay thing, making a lot of mistakes, making so many mistakes, but ultimately every time that I've made a mistake now I can say, you know what? I've learned from, while I didn't want this to be a lesson, I didn't want this to become a lesson. It did ultimately become a lesson, but I'm better for it. I'm with every single person that I talk to, that I meet, that I enter in a relationship with, that I date. I learned something new about what I want and what I don't want. And it's ultimately just helping me realize who I am as a fully developed human being and what I need, what my needs are, within myself and within another person.
Got it.
If I ever get to that point.
Got it. And Jay, you were starting to, I mean, I would imagine you're healing after this super long relationship that you were in, but also this is sort of checking a box, like you mentioned, living on a commune and sharing things together. So I'm curious for you, what did you learn about yourself during that period?
I think too, like, because I had such, you know, I'm on and I'm off. Like, I wasn't relying on the relationship to meet all my needs. It was nice to have a relationship. It was nice to share things with somebody, but uh, I was not needing that. So I could come into it with a very relaxed attitude. Sure, yep, okay. There's all this other noise going on. But it's okay because I got my own noise, and then some days I just go home. Like, um, but yeah, it did help me learn a lot of things about myself. Um, because I found some like old behavior starting to come up that, and so I had to just observe them. Like, I as much as I want to be structured, there is a part of me that wants to be liked and wants to be cute and appear attractive, and but that's not always helpful. That's not always healthy. I bend myself over backwards to try to be this thing that I'm like, I can imagine that is what everybody wants of me. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I said something wrong? What if I did the wrong thing? And it makes all of this anxiety. And so having it be a little more relaxed, like Mr. M had his own distractions, I have my own distractions, meant that sometimes I could step back and just observe like that response and not have to fully like be in it
Right.
and like and live it. And because I could tear myself to pieces, but I was choosing to just acknowledge it and not dive down into all of those depths. And so I could take a step. I could like see the behaviors that weren't healthy come up. I could process them and then and like kind of know where I was, and then I could talk to Mr. M about them, and we would decide together, well, what does this mean? And we kind of and then we start the next step, like, oh wow, the first time spend stay somewhere else, it's not your own space, uh with somebody else. I like He loves to listen to a very particular period of classical music while he sleeps.
Wow.
And Well, I find that like super energizing. So like the first time I was at his house, I did not sleep the whole night because I was just like
It's
listening.
Mr. M.
it's
What?
baroque classical music. So like Handel, Bach,
This is what you
composers
go to
like
sleep
that.
to?
So, well, this is what I used to go to
Oh.
sleep to. Yeah, so it's kind of a holdover from my relationship with Mr. T. She would listen to Beethoven,
To go to sleep?
and in fact she still does. I know because she stayed over at our house, cat sitting for us, and I noticed up on my Apple Music some Beethoven at bedtime going. So it still happens.
I have never heard of that before.
I have literally listened to Beethoven at bedtime to go to sleep since I was basically 10 years old. However long that album has been out, I have listened to it throughout my adulthood to help me go to sleep.
Wow.
So,
Do you play
yeah.
musical instruments?
No, absolutely not.
I was very curious. I'm like, oh, maybe because you're playing. No, I could never go to sleep to
No,
Beethoven.
it's super energizing. Like I don't play an instrument, but I like am in vocal performance and was in a classical choir, like an auditioned classical choir here in our town. And I sing alto, by the way, alto power.
Nice.
But that type of music is super energizing to me because I'm like following the notes. I follow the trail and just go
Yeah.
up. And I was like, and then to be able like, so it was actually very nerve wracking to me to say to him like, I can't sleep I need something else. I've never had anybody listen to what I needed. So this is like a small example of like, but to be able to say like, I need us to choose something else was a big deal to me.
Right.
It was huge. And then so it took me a while to ask for it. I had to think about it a lot. And then finally we could talk about it. And then oh, we could solve it. And I left that feeling calm. And that was like a big deal to me. And so every little step was a series of like learning to take up space. Um, and he let me do that.
That's cool.
And it was great and was really scary. And then sometimes we came across decisions that were harder to make, like would we, moving in together. And that was where we started to really, where it was the three of us, because at that point, Mr. M and Mr. T owned a house together, and I was in an apartment. And I was looking for a house to buy, and we talked about like would we move in together, and I thought what my needs were in that, and I was like, I can't join with you financially when you are financially tied to someone else. And so that's going to be a step, right? So we're going to have to figure out a solution to that, because otherwise I'm also financially tied to that person. And either we're all agreeing we're financially tied together, or there needs to be a financial separation. And that was when they were still at that point married on paper, and they still had like financial response, like the house and other things, keeping a house up. It's not just paying the mortgage, but it's also like upkeep and things like that. And if we were going to own a house together, I would need to know what resources we had, and he would always have another pull on resources, right? Like I'm a totally functional person. Like, okay, this is all a very boring conversation, and I get it, but that was a tangible way of representing, like, kind of
Yeah.
emotionally where what we had to negotiate. And I was like, it's fine if we stay here where we each have our separate households and we're in this way together. That is okay. Like, but you are saying to me that you would like to have more time together. You would like, to be in the same spaces together. And I could see that too, but this needs to happen first. And if it doesn't, okay, then this is where the ability to, kind of move in together ends.
Right. So may I just interject real quick? So the point though is that Mr. T and I had to decide first, are we going to be divorced? That was step number one, right? Do we separate in the legal sense, right? And at first we were like, no, we don't want to do that. It's we're fine. We're functional this way. It's fine. Other people should be okay with it. Yada yada. But as we progressed and as we got further into our relationships that we had at that point, it just didn't seem tenable any longer to be married. So it was kind of a mutual decision. Like, yeah, let's go through the legal proceedings. We'll sign all the documents. We'll split our assets. We'll do all of that thing. The problem was that we did not have the ability to sell the house immediately because it was in a certain state of needing to be some upkeep. So some lawn work needed to be done. Some minor repairs. Some fixing of some remodeling of some stuff in the house, putting closets in bedrooms and things like that. So that took probably several months. And so Jay and I moved in together shortly after we got engaged. And that was like a November of 2019, I want to say. And we had the house sold right as the pandemic was kicking off. So like February of 2020 is when we officially closed on the house and got it. So right. So there was a period of time where I was still paying a mortgage and kind of living rent free with Jay and her kids, and with under the the guise of like, hey, all of the stuff that I'm paying for is like food and all that. So that helped kind of pay my way in the house, but I wasn't contributing meaningfully to the household until after I could separate from that other house. And I'm pretty sure Mr. T was the same way. Hey, I can't because I'm paying part of this mortgage or these other bills. Actually, I think our bills were divided a little bit differently, Mr. T, but kind of the same feeling on that.
Equitable, I feel like it was more.
It was equitable. It was equitable, right?
At the time.
Right. Like it may have been like I paid all of one bill and you paid all of another bill, and I think that was kind of how we did it. Yeah.
Was that scary? Was that a scary time, like the separation of finances for you, Mr. T?
It was a little bit because, Mr. M was always the breadwinner. Well, later in our relationship, Mr. M became more of the breadwinner. I mean, I was always working, trying to get as much money as I possibly could, but ultimately I never made as much money as he did. So when there was that scary bit where I'm like, oh my God, it's now I was in a relationship, but I wasn't in a relationship with someone. I never go to look for someone who makes a lot of money like that.
Right.
I'm not a gold digger. Like,
right. Yeah.
Although maybe I should be.
Right.
That's the next chapter.
That's the one thing you haven't tried.
Yeah.
It's the one thing you haven't tried. So try that out next.
I've been looking for love in all the wrong places. Maybe I just need to find an old lady that'll take care of me.
Right.
A sugar mama.
Drop your purse in front of the bank.
Oops. You know what's funny about that, or not really funny. So before I got with my current wife, my ex decided that she wanted to be with men, but she didn't happen to tell me that until after we'd signed a lease on the apartment, right? So it was a 1-bedroom apartment. So not only was I paying rent with my current wife, I was having to pay half the rent and the utilities on the other place. I did that for a fucking year. That shit will never happen again. That's right.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I'm happily married now, so we're good.
Well, I think like I said, finances is like a very boring thing to talk about, but it was a big deal to me because I did not have a lot of financial autonomy. By the end of my previous relationship, like I didn't even know how to log into our bank accounts. I didn't know how much money we had on hand. I didn't know any of those things. And like there was, as we were separating, it was a very like, and it was very like traumatic to realize exactly how much control I had lost, and how little control that I had. I knew I wasn't happy with how much control I had, but to realize how much I had actually lost was really scary. And like to re-enter, like I had to open all my own bank account. Like every day was a new account I had to enter, a new form I had to fill out, like a new thing. And so like, money was kind of like traumatic to me. Like I had a lot of trauma around money, and I'd already had a lot of trauma around money, like from a kid. Like I was always a saver. I was always a person that liked to have a backup plan. And then somehow I found myself not having a backup plan, and I felt really trapped. And that was when things started to get really scary in my previous relationship. So to even have a financial conversation, like, hey, we're going to join our bank accounts, was like, oh God,
Right.
it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So that was, and so, like that's a part too of how I was coming into this relationship. I was coming from a place where I never had control. I didn't have the space to talk about like my needs. I never talked about my needs with another person. And Mr. M made all of that like be gentle,
Aw. That's sweet. I think I mean, if I could just say, hearing you, it's to me it sounds like you have like really good communication and healthy boundaries. And like I don't know, the story of your previous relationship, but I think just the ability to speak up and say something no matter how hard it was, and keep those healthy boundaries is really cool. Like I think that's one lesson I will take away. Speak up, man. Keep healthy boundaries.
Yeah. Healthy boundaries. That's important in any relationship, right? Whether you've been married for 28 years, 5 years, you're just getting into a relationship, boundaries. And that's all part of like my mental health too now. Is like if it smells like drama, you don't get to come in the box anymore.
Right.
And Mr. T, you should know this. Lesbian drama is the absolute fucking worst.
Oh,
why? Can you tell me why? I want to know why.
Mr. T lives for it. Mr. T lives for it. Are you kidding me?
Not gonna lie, sometimes I do live for it. I was actually telling them when I came in, I am mid-manic episode right now. Because I have bipolar, so I'm like mid-manic episode, and I have nothing better to do but create chaos for the plot right now. Like that's kind of where I'm at, but I know that that's not good. But lesbians, women in general, we are emotional creatures. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when you get two women together, because we can be headstrong with one another, and hopefully in most cases in healthy relationships, or a lot of unhealthy relationships in the lesbian community, but we are just such messes. Like we are just, I've lived the L word. I've been living the L word, and I'm ready to stop living the L word. Like for real.
Lesbians are petty as fuck. They really are.
We are
petty.
So fucking petty. So petty. And I feel like that's my brand though. I feel like that's my brand. I've always been petty. So yeah.
Except for the fact that you care about people though. Like I feel like
no, I don't. Don't ruin my street. Don't ruin my street cred, Mr. M. I am dead inside and a cold-hearted bitch. cold
Yeah,
heart.
I give you
we
about
care about
40% of
that.
that. Right.
We do care, but like, you know, like lesbian drama, like I cannot, no, that's probably why we have about maybe 5 lesbian friends. Okay, because I cannot do the drama. I can't.
G-Rex, if you ever want to hear about lesbian drama, please feel free to reach out. I have unlimited
tea.
amounts of lesbian drama. Yes. Yes. And I tell Mr. M about it. I tell Jay about it. I tell, you know,
She'll
our
tell
other
anyone.
no, that's not true. I save the juice, the real juice for you guys. I
That's
really
fair.
do. I really
do appreciate that.
So like, so
and
yeah,
I go, well,
it's fun.
Thank goodness I'm not part of that.
Anymore.
Anymore, right? It's true,
And it's
anymore.
less and less becoming about me, so that's good. You know,
Exactly.
It's more...
You know, that's a great observation. T. Right, like, yeah, you right. It's less about guess what this bitch did to me. It's more like guess what these bitches are doing to each other. It's crazy.
So
it's a great evolution to see. I'm like totally here for that, because like sometimes I'm like, oh no, that's a lot of drama.
Sounds awesome though. I can only imagine. So I have a kind of a weird random question. Mr. T, when you finally, you know, you've departed from the Mr. M relationship, you're exploring who you are. Did you like just go wild, or were you cautiously stepping into relationships after that? Because like for me, I'd be like, I can imagine if you're holding back an essential part of yourself and you finally get to let it out and be you. Like, are you just like, woo, like best day ever? Like I'm jumping in and fucking discovering women. Like, what was it like, or was it cautious?
It was, no, I'm jumping right in. I think Mr. M talked a little bit about my relationship with the individual that lived in Oregon.
Yes.
that we subsequently moved to Florida. That relationship didn't end up working out, and the whole L word situation with that. But I like to be in relationships. I absolutely do. I feel like I'm my best version of myself when I'm in a relationship with someone. But at the same time, I'm trying to learn how to be okay to be alone and finding myself and finding what I want. I have recently redecorated my living room and my dining room because aside from when I was with Mr. M, all of my design choices were always based on, well, I'm going to compromise for my partner and what they want, and not necessarily listen to my design aesthetic or my style aesthetic. So I'm now reclaiming my home, you know, that I have, and finding me, and what I always knew what my personal style was, but I've definitely, you know, felt more free to express it and finding myself lately and realizing, hey, you know, I need to be a fully formed human being. And I'm also going to school right now. I have a very demanding job. So, you know, I'm trying to tread more cautiously than I did when I first came out. And I'm just learning things along the way, and that I don't need to rush into a relationship. You know, I want to meet people. I want to foster my existing relationships like I have with Mr. M and with Jay, and, you know, with a plethora of our other friends that we have together and separately. So that's kind of where I'm at this point, treading cautiously. But I was never like, ooh, I'm going to hook up and be with all these women. That's just not who I am as a person. So
I think you like the idea of it more than actually in practice, right?
Yeah.
Like you like the idea of the pursuit of the relationship and the actual relationship, and, you know, doing that more times. You know, like the idea of it is more appealing than when it actually, you know, works out, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So.
Is there a design choice you've made recently that you're super excited about, or like something that you bought that just like gives you good vibes?
Yeah, I mean, I will say the biggest thing to me lately that I've done for myself is I have always relied on other people to try and fix things for me, hence me being into generally very butch women, not gonna lie. They're usually fairly handy. So, so I'm trying to learn how to do more things on my own.
G-Rex clapping.
That's my wife. She is totally she is like the handiest butch in town. Like, that girl can MacGyver the shit out of anything.
So I'm trying to I'm really trying to learn how to do things on my own. And I actually shared a photo recently where I got a couch, put it in the back of my hatchback, drove it to my house, took it out myself.
Like 30-minute drive.
Which was it turned into an hour drive. And like
oh no.
Well, it was from UCF to Sanford, so I don't know if anyone knows about that, but it's generally a 30-minute drive, but it took an hour to get there. So I have even the gentleman that put the couch in my car, they're like, "Are you okay? Are you sure you're going to be okay?" "Yes, I'll be fine." But I ended up getting the couch home, getting into my house by myself, putting it back together by myself, so I felt super duper empowered by that. And fuck yes, I can do this shit by myself. I don't need anyone else. I'm mowing my lawn, which is a huge deal for me. And I'm doing it every single weekend. So
nice.
Yeah. I'm really trying to be you know what? I am independent as fuck. I don't need a woman to help me with anything. I need to discover myself. And if someone comes into my life that makes it better and I can be a partner and still be myself, but we can also be independent of one another, great. That's what I want. But I'm not going to settle anymore. I've learned so much to go back to settling for things just because it's easier.
So, Mr. T, what that kind of segues, what is the biggest lesson you've learned in your journey thus far?
That actions speak louder than words. Actions, that is the biggest thing that in both of my most recent relationships, it was, I'm going to say these things to you and I will apologize, but at the same time, my actions will not back up my words. So, to me, that's become a huge thing in my relationships where I'm okay, and I am not willing to accept that anymore. I am not willing to accept that. So that's my biggest takeaway is to really see someone, what they do, not only to me, but to other people, how they are because the way that you treat people when other people aren't looking, it really talks to someone's character, so that's something that I'm trying to grow. And just, again, I need to learn to be okay. It's okay to be alone. It is 100% okay to be alone. And that's where I'm at right now too, is I'm trying to focus on myself and just getting through school right now.
Yeah.
All I can say is just, keep making sure you're doing stuff for yourself too and staying grounded. Doing self-love, self-care. Let me tell you, I think I went through my 20s and 30s and I didn't have any real serious relationships, right? Because I think I was still trying to fucking grow up. But once I found that serious relationship, or what I thought was going to be a serious relationship, then I kind of settled down. And then, once I met my current wife, that's when I finally just really settled down, right? I knew that that's what I wanted. It was the stability I was looking for. Wasn't the fucking crazy that was going on. And man, I applaud you. I really do. You've been through a lot of shit. Both you and Jay. I love you guys' story.
Mr. M.
I'm sorry, Mr. M, Mr. M, Mr. M, Mr. M. Fuck you. You know what? We've recorded 3 times today, okay? My mind is messed up. But like, I applaud all of you, right? Like, you guys have created a family, right? And family isn't, what we're born with, it's what we choose. And you guys are the chosen family. And I love that, Jay, that you take care of make sure that Mr. T is okay. You make sure Mr. M is okay. They all make sure that you're okay, right? And in this world today, because, there's a lot of crazy shit going on. And just making sure that you are all okay, it actually, it warms my heart. I kind of have some goosebumps going on right now. And I'm so happy for you guys. And I love this story.
I know. It's wild. So, Jay, what is the biggest lesson you've learned?
As much as it is, there wasn't a time like leading up to meeting Mr. M that it was also what Mr. T said, like, I can do things on my own. I am capable of this. I would say at this point that my family shows me that it's okay for me to show up as I am.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, it would not always be my first choice to answer a 1 a.m. phone call. However, like, but I will be the one. I will be the one to be like, well, we're going to have dinner together every Thursday, right? Or we're going to make sure that we are, getting together on a regular basis. I'm going to be the one that makes sure we're like taking all of those like small consistent steps. And there are some people that would be like, no, it's only love if we are it's 1 a.m. phone calls, and it's only love if it is those extremes. And it's but I can show up in my methodical way, and I kind of bring I bring balance to things, because I think Mr. M and Mr. T share those things like that. They love very deeply and in like huge waves, and like I'm a little bit different, but they still like me.
Aww.
We don't like you. We love you, Jay. I cannot say how incredibly happy I am that you and Mr. M found one another, because you've become my family too. So I am utterly grateful that you came into Mr. M's life for him, and that your kids came into his life, and you came into my life, and your kids came into my life.
Aww, it's beautiful, Mr. M. Let me dry the tears.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Where did you go?
Oh, I'm here. I'm happy you can't see me because my eyes got watery through that. Nice.
Whatever.
I'm hoping that you can. Yeah. Well, I think we'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
just
I can
missing
still
from
hear
the
you,
Zoom,
so.
but as long as
Right,
you can
we
hear
can
me.
hear you.
So Mr. M.
Well, I do want to interject one.
Of course,
small
go
thing.
for it.
So it was one of Jay's kids' birthdays yesterday, and on Thursday we had my parents over for dinner, and Mr. T was supposed to join us. Unfortunately, she was not able to due to extenuating circumstances. And I don't think I told you this, Mr. T. Yeah, you were having some car trouble, my parents show up, and he's like, "Oh, is gonna be here?" And I'm like,
You mean
Who's who gonna be there?
No, sorry.
Mr. T?
Excuse me. Hang on. Let me back up. So, Mr. T wasn't able to join us because she was having some car trouble, some extenuating circumstances. And the birthday boy looks over at me and is like, my parents had shown up. Is like, oh, is Mr. T going to join us? And it seemed genuinely disappointed when I said, unfortunately, that she was not going to be able to join us for his birthday. So I don't know if that's if that is indicative of how he feels about everything. I think maybe he was just wondering what's going on, but like I do think that Mr. T has definitely become a part of the kids' lives in a very positive way. So
cool. Mr. M, what have you learned? What's been the biggest lesson you've learned through this?
Being okay with change, knowing that change is always constant. Listening to yourself, listening to those around you, hearing people when they say that they have needs, listening to your own needs, and then understanding when you can't meet those needs, right? Understanding that there is a limitation that you have for yourself, and that if you can't be there and you can't meet that need, then that's okay, as long as you can communicate that.
Love that. Love that. G-Rex, any last questions from you?
No, like I said, thank you so much for sharing you guys' stories. Jay, I'm really proud of you. And
Yeah.
I think that you just came out of your shell, and, you know, you've introduced your kids to, like, you know, different lifestyles, and, you know, you're opening their horizons and their eyes, and being okay with that, because not all parents are like that. And I think your kids are really fortunate in being able to do that and have those experiences, because when I was probably their age, I didn't have those experiences. So to me, that is it's heartwarming for me. You know, I'm 60 years old and been out for a really long time. So
Any advice for Mr. T as she is in the beginning of her journey?
yeah, my advice for Mr. T is gonna be just keep practicing self-love, self-care. Take care of your needs. You're gonna find somebody that'll be it'll be the one. Don't tell me how it happens, because it kind of just happened for me. Like, my wife and I met online, right? Like, we met on an AOL chat room. Funniest thing ever.
That's dating yourself.
All right, listen, Mr. M. Did I ask for your input? I don't think I did.
That's true. You did not. You did not. That's a good point.
Because I'm getting back to you in like 2 minutes. But Mr. T, I just want you to make sure you're taking care of yourself, you know, and be kind to yourself. That's the most important thing. Just be kind. You know, like, we all go through this shit of trying to identify what we want, what we need, and looking for that happiness. And, you know, you have a family, you know, in Mr. T and in Jay, and use them as a support system. And I'm really proud of you. Like I said, it would be hard for me to come out and have to start dating now, because it's a way different world. So be kind to yourself. I love you. You'll be good. I'm telling you, you can call me anytime. I have crazy ass stories to tell you that do not need to be on the internet and anywhere. Because when I was growing up, we didn't have phones, thank God. And finally, Mr. M, thank you for being so gracious. You know, sharing your story. Not everybody feels comfortable sharing that. And I'm just so proud of you. Like, you truly all are a baller. Yeah. And you are such a great guy. And like I said, your 2 episodes, I've never gotten so many fucking texts about your 2 episodes. The whole cliffhanger thing. Like, I got like really shitty texts from people. They're like, "What the fuck is this?" I'm like,
you know what's crazy?
You're gonna have to wait.
This episode will also be a 2-parter, so like I'm very curious to see what Bizzle's cliffhanger is going to be, because people are going to be so fucking pissed. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Not again.
Why do you do this to us? Right.
But you know, just like as a closing note, like, we hit a huge milestone today. We just hit 75,000 downloads on our
amazing
podcast.
Wow.
Thank you.
And, you know, we went
sharing you guys' podcast with everyone. So you guys, it's amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
We went live on, you know, February 14th, and never in a million years did I think that we would have the success that we do. And I appreciate Dirty Skittles and Dizzle and all our amazing guests. Like we can't do this without you guys and your support. And
Yeah.
The day we hit 100,000, I'm probably going to have to take a moment.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Like, this was amazing. Like, it was definitely good to talk it out with people that I know, with hearing their side and what they went through as well, you know.
I feel like we need to do like a check-in with you later and just see where your journey progresses. It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone. Do you want to tell the people out there the kind of person you're looking for? Should we make this a dating show? Ooh, can we have a dating show?
Oh, snap.
Oh my God. Financially stable.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be emotionally stable because clearly I'm not.
Right. As Mr. T is literally pacing my house, I can see her. She is literally manic pacing the house right now.
Okay.
I told you I'm in mid-manic mode right now. Give me a break.
I would be doing the same if I wasn't like tied to. I'm not tied to the chair, but if I wasn't like in this room, confined to this room.
Should we ask Mr. M and J what they would want for you for your significant other?
Oh, absolutely! Please do, because they have a better judge of character than I do. Clearly, so
Mr. M, J, now's your time.
Jay, you go first.
Jay, go first.
Oh man. I don't know. I'm honestly happy to see Mr. T in this like solo phase. Like I'm actually like I'm not wishing a partner. Not
she knows the trauma. She knows
we've had a lot of drama. That's true. Been a lot of drama.
Well, that's like the solo time for me was like so important. Like I learned like so much about myself like in the alone time that like I wish that for everybody. I wish that same kind of like peace and like a self-awareness like for any person that could, even if you find like pockets of it if you're in your own life, if you're already in a relationship, I wish alone time for everyone because it is that like
agreed
important. It's that important to me.
I love that.
And that was that. So I'm not necessarily wishing for a relationship because she does such a good job of finding relationships all the time.
but see, that's the thing is I never have a problem finding a relationship. They just always turn out terribly.
Got it.
So, that's my problem is picking the wrong person, I think. But I am learning how to hopefully find the right person for me. But I do want to be alone, seriously.
Yeah. Mr. T, I am enjoying this phase of your life as well. I am. Because, when you told me that you split from the last, partner, I was like, okay. And you gave me every reason why, and you were able to enumerate exactly why. And I said, and I was like, hey, I'm really proud of you for taking the stand for yourself. You were right. You had been put into a corner basically on a lot of things. And you were just like, no, not for me. Peace out. I'm done.
Yeah. And I wasn't willing to go over my boundaries.
Right. I am so proud of that. Like that's fucking huge. That being said, when you do find a partner, what I wish for you is someone who is kind. That is it. just
Aw,
kindness.
love that.
I
Love that.
appreciate that. I definitely need that, for sure.
They could be dumb, but
They better be
shouldn't.
fucking
I
kind.
can't. No.
But
I've
as long as
realized
they're
that is
kind
something
and
that I need.
understanding, right? As long as
No.
they're kind and understanding, then that is good. That is
Okay.
a good place to start.
I know what you should look for. Yeah.
Tell me. Give me my list.
Jay.
Me, Jay.
Or Jay. Sorry, Jay. Give me my list. Give me my list of what should be on it.
You need somebody in a hot dog costume in their profile.
Oh, that
I
is a deep
literally was
cut.
going to bring that up earlier when Mr. M was talking about like how the two of us met Mr. M. I wanted to be like, that's what
And
it is.
It's the
we
hot
need
dog
to find
costume.
some. I hope that you need to include this this needs to be included in the
Yes.
pod.
Yes,
like
for
like
sure.
in show notes, because Bizzle's the one that took that photo, by the way.
Yep, I remember. It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.